Welcome everybody to another Simon on the Sofa. As you're seeing a little overlay there where I'm just thanking all my patrons that are supporting me with financial contributions right now to continue these talks. I'm still open to more patrons joining. There's certain goals that I want to reach in terms of equipment and also the ability to invite more and more beautiful people to transparently share with me. So head over to that link there, or the URL, patreon.com/Simon on the Sofa. Have a little read when you get 5 minutes. I also want to thank everybody that's continually supporting the Sofa in terms of just showing up and dedicating an hour and a half, sometimes 30 minutes to these amazing conversations. So welcome everybody, and welcome to tonight's guest, which is Bryan Reeves. Greetings, Bryan.
Greetings, Simon. Hello.
Great to have you here. Great for you to show up. I know you've been very busy lately, so thank you for being here.
You're welcome, man. You have beautiful eyes. I'm sure you've been told that, right?
Only a few times, but it's always nice to get a reminder.
Yeah, let's just have it out right at the beginning.
Exactly.
Beautiful eyes, man.
So for everybody watching, Bryan just told me there might be a little echo tonight because I'm actually sat in a walkway to the entrance of 3 apartments, and on my lighting to my right, I've got 2 camping head torches giving me light, which I'm not even going to turn the camera around to show you. I've got this lovely microphone, which Bryan said if the closer I am to it, the better the sound. And anytime anybody could come out, this is the spontaneity of a great conversation, right? People might walk past, people might interject, and we will just spontaneously flow. But what I'm going to do tonight, and I'm going to begin this conversation because I know Bryan's all about transparency and truth and just showing up. And I've watched a few of his videos. I don't know much about him. I've had a conversation with a woman recently that shared a little bit about him, a coach and a friend of his. And other than that, I watched a couple of videos. He spoke about awakened men and love and just the things that I talk about at times and I'm interested in. So I thought, hey, let me invite him. He happened to be going off to do a retreat, an event that he does, or an event he was doing. And then he said, hey, yeah, hell, let's do this. It sounds interesting. So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to close my eyes. And one of the ways that I share in my world with the people that I love and the sharing circles and the workshops I do is that when we close our eyes, we get to drop in a bit deeper. And when we close our eyes, we can actually see. So as I move on with these conversations on the sofa, you're probably going to start seeing me sat in front of you with eyes closed more so than open, because I'm realizing more and more that when the eyes are open, I personally get distracted, clouded, and often lost from what it is that I want to say. So I'm just going to drop in for a minute, I'm going to take a breath, and then I'm going to do my share of why I'm here tonight, and then I'm going to let Bryan take over and just trust he's going to flow where whatever arises for him. So right now I can hear a whole heap of talking in the background, which is slightly distracting. A friend of mine is on the phone. And also I've got many thoughts going through my head. I've been thinking today about this conversation. And the last 2 days I've had nothing but bad stomach. I've had diarrhea and I've had pain in my stomach for probably a week or more. I've had to take a load of foods out of my diet. And I've just been like, today I was like, man, should I just cancel this talk? And I'm sure Bryan will be cool with that at last minute. But, you know, I put this stuff out online and I'm like, okay, let me just show up. So freshen myself up. Here I am. So I read through just Bryan's story again, and him about he's been in the military, in the US Air Force. I was intrigued to know how much what involvement he's been in. Has he been like, you know, fully involved, killing people and doing that whole thing as a captain of the military? And what's he seen from that perspective was intriguing. And then also I was thinking, well, ultimately, where am I at? What conversation do I want? And where are we in the world right now? Because me personally, I see a whole heap of bullshit being flown around town here, there, and everywhere. I see people showing up in my world where talk is, you know, easy and action is a lot harder. And I see a lot of people not really wanting to share the shit and the struggle and the challenges that they experience. And as I was reading through Bryan's story again, maybe for the third time, and I was seeing, wow, he's had some challenges and he's sharing, and obviously he's not, can't get everything in one about page, but, there's some nice transparency being shared. And then I also just wanted to throw in there that I had a slight dialogue with a friend of his, a coach, on some email Facebook thread, which was unexpected and spontaneous, and made me start to think a little bit more about Bryan and who he is and what his message is. So that's really today. I have no agenda in this conversation as ever, but I'm starting to, after 5 years of filming conversations, I'm starting to want to just drop deeper. Like, I want to drop deeper. And as I say that to you, Bryan, tonight, because you're the first person I'm with, where I've had this with a few other people along the way, and just they've been willing to drop in. But I just want to drop deeper beyond the noise, you know what I mean? The competition, the marketing, just like I had a talk the other day with Sean Heinrichs, an amazing man, and he was talking about the biosphere breaking down and the carbon and, just the unconsciousness of the men and the women in the world. And then today I was watching something on the more abuse of the animals flying around. And it's not just about the abuse and the suffering and all the truth and the information flying around right now, but I just wanted to share it with you tonight anyway. And just, you know what, two men, just have a conversation. I don't really care what it's about. So that's where I am, my friend, and it's nice to meet you and welcome you to Simon on the Sofa.
Likewise. And I noticed that I'm on a sofa and you're in a hallway, and that's all. I was thinking I'd be on a sofa and you'd be on a sofa, and it'd be like one really long sofa. from LA to, where are you? You're in Malta?
Malta, yeah, exactly.
That'd be the biggest sofa in the history of sofas.
Yeah. And also you got to remember, I'm in the damn closet, man. It should be called Bryan with a Y on the sofa.
Well, we're coming out of the closet, man. I love your invitation to just, and I'm assuming we can use words like fuck.
Yeah, we can use any words.
Good. So if you're at work, you might want to just, take note, put your headphones in, but, or if you got kids around, but I love your invitation to just fucking go, let's go to the heart of it. I don't even know what that means, but let's just do that.
Exactly. Beautiful.
Yeah, man. I get chills. In fact, when you were saying that, I was just like, oh, hell yeah. I mean, that's all I exist for, really, is to just fucking get to the heart of it already. That's been my lifelong journey. And, so many people have shown up along the way to meet me in that conversation and to challenge me to go deeper than I thought I could go, to go, beneath the layers of my own bullshit that I couldn't even see. And that's why, the woman that contacted you, Katharina, she's a woman I've been working with for a few years, but especially really the last year. And I both hate her and absolutely love her. And because she challenges me in ways to go deeper. She is like that's one of the things, and we're off and running, as you can see, and we'll see where this goes. But one of the things that I love about just women on the planet that I have hated. Also, every fucking woman I've ever been in relationship with, I have hated her and loved her because she's always stood for, usually unconsciously, but she's always stood for me going deeper into the heart of the truth beneath my own bullshit. And I think it's one of the gifts of the feminine. Maybe we'll talk about that, what that means, but women have been that profound and so often unasked for, yet asked for, gift to just get fucking real with the truth. Right? That I've wanted to avoid, even as I've said I've wanted to get to the truth. Men, I think a lot of men, because it's the masculine energy, we use information, we use truth in service of our own ends, our own means. Like information is just a tool to get what we want. You know, that's like the cliche, why do men lie? It's one of the main complaints I ever hear from women is that, you know, why can't men tell the truth? Why do men lie? And I realize it's because masculine energy, especially unconscious masculine energy, uses information to achieve its own ends. It's really that simple.
Its own agenda.
Its own agenda. We use information. I mean, you look at like sports and finance and government. It's all about data these days. Business. It's all about data. Using data to accomplish whatever. Whether it's you want to make money, you want to get elected, you want to win the game, win the fantasy league. You know, whatever it is. And then of course we take that into our relationships, and you know, where data doesn't make any damn sense, yet we'll still use information to get the outcome we want. You know, we'll omit, that's a big one. We'll omit information to get the outcome that we want. And we don't think that it's lying. And I still struggle with that one sometimes.
Yeah. Like almost robotic, right? It's like it literally is almost mechanical and computerized in the sense of like we're just regurgitating words and information and, like you call it, data, just because we almost think that is how we should be without even questioning.
Without even questioning. That's right. Because it's like there's this subconscious programming, and I've learned a lot. You know, studying a lot of the masculine and feminine dynamics have really opened up my eyes. You know, particularly when I started, when someone handed me David Data's book, The Way of the Superior Man, and you know, that's where I began to learn that masculine energy is constantly seeking freedom from constraint, freedom from having problems, and, you know, always solving problems. And so, yeah, we use information. I mean, this is why, again, the world is so fucked. And, you know, you pointed to that conversation, and the world is not so fucked. I mean, I say that, I actually have great hope for humanity and for the planet. I'm a very optimist. I just mean, when I say the world is so fucked, I just mean that why we're all in pain, why we suffer, why, you know, we can have all the money and it doesn't work. You know, we can have, you know, I love Jim Carrey said, I hope that everyone has an opportunity gets to be rich and famous one day so that they can finally see that it doesn't work. You know, and that's again, because again, in our masculine pursuit of freedom, we're using numbers, information, data, and whatever's convenient to the outcome we want. Again, whether it's to be elected or usually it's to make money. And, you know, we just use it. We use information for that end. And so, it's outdated,
right? It's outdated. A lot of it is outdated.
Well, it's unsustainable.
Meaning it's just not working. Yeah, it's not working.
It's unsustainable. I mean, our oceans are filling up with plastic. You look at what's happening in Beijing. They can't breathe their air. They literally can't breathe their air sometimes, you know, and it's insane. It's insane. It's literally insane.
And it just hasn't caught up as well in the West. A lot of the times, and for people watching this, I feel so many times, just to touch on that a little bit, is that when we say that they can't breathe their air in Beijing, and we hear that, we see this information out there, and we get it in the West. A friend of mine said the other day is that, you know, we talk of post-apocalyptic, you know, this apocalypse coming, and this, like, you know, and actually we're already in it. Like, so, you know, you're talking like billions upon billions of humans that, you know, are starving, don't have money, in disease, you know, can't breathe their air. You know, it's already post-apocalyptic. It's almost us privileged ones in the West who have computers and can go out and buy new things, and just, we sort of seem to be just running around in this sort of fairy tale world, thinking that none of this is actually going to catch up with us, but not actually looking at the sort of statistics and information that's coming, because we're distracted and don't have time. I don't know if that's deviating, but it's just like, this is such a big topic that continues to show its face. And I'm like you, I'm an optimist. I have hope in humanity. I have hope that not that just everybody wakes up, but just that, you know, technology and, you know, the information and the wisdom and the intelligence that we supposedly have can actually come together to serve the whole and not just the minority.
And, you know, just take what's happening at the macro level and kind of globally, but just bring it, let's just make it personal, because in our individual lives, we're doing the same thing. I mean, especially as men, but women suffer this also. And then this belief that I've got to do it all myself, you know, kind of this self-serving, again, what Katharina, I'm sure we'll talk a lot about her in this conversation, that coach that contacted you and that I've been working with, you know, she calls the mindset of fear. And in that mindset of fear, you know, meaning, you know, I've got to make money. I've got to pay the bills. I have to succeed. I have to win. I have to, like, all this kind of that masculine oriented, you know, I have to solve all the problems so that I can feel free, so I can be free from the burden of having problems, as if that's possible on planet Earth. And in doing so, we're killing ourselves. We're dying. I mean, yeah, Beijing can't breathe their air, but how many people can't fucking breathe when they're just sitting at home, you know, looking at a life they don't want.
Exactly.
Or
That's
they're not deeply connected to.
Yeah. I just want to say in there, somebody sent me, I just want to just throw a little seed in there. Somebody sent me a beautiful woman the other day and said, this woman is teaching humans how to breathe. This is in Europe. She's traveling around doing breathing workshops, not just, and I'm not talking holotropic breathing and just, you know, these other like massive transcendental experiences. She's literally going with them and teaching them how to breathe.
Just breathe. Just breathe. Absolutely. I mean, you know, I work with a lot of couples in my own coaching practice, and I see that that's one of the things that just that basic practice of learning how to breathe allows us to, starts to gives us access to just be with what is, right? To just be with the emotional content of what's happening. And this is, you know, this is another big one where, I think, you know, men, the masculine, we focus on information and data, and we can't be with emotions. We can't really be with the emotions that are arising. And so, you know, we can't really hear each other. We can't feel each other. We can't feel our partners. We can't feel the people we're working with. We can't, I mean, you know, look at just, you know, right now in American politics, I mean, it's just it's a joke what's happening, you know, at the level of our politicians, the way that all these men, especially on the Republican side, are just tearing each other down. It's insane. It's the definition of insanity. These men are propagating the message of fear and division and separation, and it's just, I mean, it's comical. Really?
I love what you're sharing. Like, so, but how is that making you feel? Like, so for example, you know, you've been in the military, you've been, you know, you're obviously looking at the politics a little bit. You've been in the business world. You've made some money. You've had your little adventure, and now you're sort of making a decision to support people to be more loving. But like, where does that hit you? Because when I close my eyes and I'm up, you know, and I'm in a circle and like it just hits me bang in the belly, you know. That's why I think like even recently, it's not even been the last couple of weeks. I mean, it's been on and off for a long time. Is that it hits me in the belly, and I get this sense of these feelings of, you know, definitely optimism, but I get this vulnerability hits me. And it's not just about being a sensitive man. It's like, it's almost at times there's that hopelessness. There's that sense that, you know, I can do something, and I am doing the best I can with my massive conditioning of scarcity and lack, and my programs of, you know, inability to express how I'm feeling, and, you know, all of these things. And I don't say this for any form of sympathy. You know, I had my own sort of shift in perspective and peak experience, and continue to have them ongoing. But then something takes over where I found myself on this mission where, you know, you want to serve, you want to support others, ultimately you're supporting yourself to then get out of the bloody invisible, I call them invisible prisons that I found myself in. And you know, you mentioned politics, it's what brought this up. But you know, when politics and government and all these other mass institutions that have been governing me and controlling and dictating my choices and so on. And then I'm like, wow, you know, what's the route out of that is not easy. It's a struggle. It's hard. And no matter how much you sugarcoat it and try to make it a business and come into the multi-billion world of self-development, self-help and supposed, you know, making a difference in the world, you find a lot of that falls into the same conditioned institutional minds, magazines, business as usual. And then you just constantly look on the outside of that and you see a hell of a lot of shit collapsing, and not always the things that need to collapse, you know, in nature, in everywhere else.
Yeah. So how do I feel about all that? That was the question.
Yeah. How do you feel? Or, you know, how do you soak that up as a man?
Man, you know, I think that's been one of the challenges. How do I feel it? Because that as a man, at least as this man in this body, feeling has been really fucking hard for most of my life. You know, in fact, being in the military, actually, I mean, I didn't, you know, parents divorced when I was 4, a lot of pain in the home, a lot of anger and rage in my home growing up, you know, in one of my parents, and I just shut off. And then I went into the military and shut off even more and feeling. And so, you know, in that place of not being able to feel, it's like, I can't really serve anybody. I can't really show up in relationship. I can't, because I don't know how someone's feeling. I don't know that I'm hurting anybody. And I think in the last really 15 years since I got out of the military, I'm 41, I got out when I was 26. And that whole journey really towards like waking up my fucking feeling body. And women have been so essential on that journey, like just breaking my heart over and over and over again, breaking my heart open so that I can feel something. You know, it remains a challenge to this day. And that's why, you know, I tend to surround myself with women who will not let me get away with any of that adolescent non-feeling bullshit. Both in the partner that I have now, my girlfriend, and also this woman, Katharina, that I work with. I mean, it's no mistake that I've chosen a ferociously, I mean, my coach, Katharina, I call her, she started a company called Think Love. Think Love. And it's ironic that I both, like, I hate that name because think love, like love, it's like so easy to dismiss. Like my mind, I'm a fucking former U.S. Air Force captain from the East Coast of the U.S. I didn't grow up in California dancing around fires and, you know, playing my pan flute to the moon and shit. You know, I just grew up a dude. I grew up a guy in suburban Washington, D.C. And I'm talking about love and shit. Like, what the fuck does that mean? I mean, it's like my heart knows that there's this thing called love is massive and huge, and all the pop songs sing about it in a very shallow way, and all the
easy, you know, easy there, because they sing about a whole heap of painful love.
Well, that's it. They sing about the bullshit, shallow, you complete me love, and that's the model I grew up with, and so it's like, you know, we grow up with this thing of like, what the fuck does love have to do with it? Love doesn't pay the bills. Love ain't going to protect us from ISIS. Love isn't going to stop the terrorists from coming across the border. No, Donald Trump is, because he's going to build a big fucking wall to keep everybody out. That's a load of horseshit. And I know it is, and we know it is. We know that wall that Donald Trump wants to build ain't going to do shit. How safe is Israel for building their wall? Right? Maybe they have a few less explosions here and there, but they're still existentially, you know,
detached.
Fucked. I mean, they still are suffering.
Building I didn't even know he wanted to build a wall.
Oh yeah, he wants to build a wall as long as Mexico. He wants to build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico, and get them to pay for it. That's the hilarious part about it. As if any of it's not hilarious. And
it's so right. I got to laugh. We got to hold the thought for a minute because this is hilarious. Not only does it show up the separation, trying to cling on to the changes that are happening across the planet. But you've got the idea of interbeing and collaboration and co-creation so far away from their consciousness that the only way to do this is to build a huge wall. I never even heard of this. This is hilarious.
Oh, well, he's collaborative about it. He's going to get them to pay for it. So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's going to get them to pay for the separation we want to create. It's just insane. Right. And so, so coming back to like the whole love concept, it's like, it's so easy for my mind to say, love isn't going to do anything. Love, what the fuck does love have to do? I'll do it. I'll fix this. I'll get in there and just fix it into the way that I think it should be, which is what I've been doing my whole life. Right. Trying to fashion the world in whatever order, or taken out of the chaos and put it in the order that I think it should be in. And that shit ain't ever worked. Even when I did happen to fashion some semblance of order, it only lasted a second, or I got it. And maybe that meant, having the money, or having the home, or having the woman, or having the admiration, or whatever it looks like. I might have it for a second or a minute if I'm lucky. And then, poof, it's gone. And I got to or I still have it and I find out, oh, that didn't work. Yeah. Right. It didn't scratch the deep, painful itch that really is, I believe, is really, in the end, it's my disconnection from heart. It's my purely living in the mind of ego, and just not really trusting in the rhythms of my heart, of love. And when I say love, I mean, I simply mean that it's like that life force inside me that just compels me to move in the world, to speak. Like when you close your eyes, right, and you drop in, you're speaking from a different place. There's a different, and I don't know what that is exactly. I mean, I think we're all on our journey to getting out of the way, right, and really letting love animate us.
Yeah, and it's nice that you bring up love. We can just, because that was one of the talks that you actually you was on top of a cliff and you was running somewhere. I think you was running somewhere and you just stopped off and you did a talk, and it was about self-love and one of the things on the spiritual self-help, self-development, I don't even know what to call it, because I'm a little bit constantly trying to demystify it, because for me, there's too much talk of love, and it's become an outward projection away from the idea of self-love. But so when you say, the acknowledgement of this life force, this mysterious, magnificent, powerful, beyond measure power that flows through us, and more often than not, guess what? It's the sexual driving force of creation and I speak for myself here. I was so, and still am, desensitized in my sexuality and in my understanding of that pure life force. And the more that I've gone into self-love and transparency and looking at where the ecocide is within me, the pain is within me, the inner turmoil is within me that's creating the external reflection, the more I've had to look into the struggle and the wounds and the past suffering and the suppression and the male domination over me and just, like you just said, the I identity of like, it's me against the world. That's why I was a criminal and ended up in jail at 18. It was like, fuck it, I'll steal everything I can and I'll make money, right? I was just like, I steal, and I did steal, and I stole so much, I've stolen more wedding rings than you can imagine. You imagine how people feel when they come home and their gold's gone, right? The gold, the thing that they cherish so much. And I was just taking that stuff and just breaking it down just so I can get high and just so I can think that I am somebody, right? It's like, it's such a unconscious state of being. And it's not to say that it hasn't fueled me, it's not who I am now, but to even find myself in those realms. And we know there's much deeper and darker than that. We know that, what's going on in the world, kids, millions of kids are waking up and getting abused, raped, arms cut off, gun in their hand, fight for your life or die. You know what I mean? These are like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. I mean, we can't even, the depths of darkness are so deep. But when you talk of self-love, it's like, I don't know, there's that sort of mysterious, mystical seed that maybe if we go inwards and we do love ourselves, there is the potential, there is this beautiful potential that actually there is this like force that is, you know, incomprehensible in the mind that can transform. And we've seen it happen. You've seen it happen. I've seen a sparkle in people's eyes. You know, you see the birth of this, the potential of this new world that is here, that is rising, but I feel can, like a tsunami, sweep across the whole planet. And maybe that's just my dream, but you know, I don't know what comes up for you from that place, but that's what flies through me.
I think we could just end the conversation right there. That was that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. But let's not do that, because why not? We're here and we're sitting on.
Let's have some fun.
Let's play. Let's continue to play. Yeah, I think that, you know, that's evidenced by, I mean, a former we call him in this country cat burglar, and a former U.S. Air Force captain. I don't know that there's a whole lot of difference, and boy, some people are gonna fucking hate me for saying that. I don't mean to compare. But I just mean that in the sense that the two of us in that place are living purely out of the mind.
Exactly.
Right, disconnected from heart and living purely to accomplish a mission.
Right.
That's in most cases disconnected from heart. You know,
right.
the way we do military on the planet is not a heart-centered military. It is completely a mind, you know, a fear-based military. So anyway, I just want to clarify that, since some of my military people will say, "Motherfucker, you calling me a cat burglar?" What?
Yeah.
But it is the same in that sense.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna have friends from the past calling me up, going, "What you saying? We're like the U.S. Army, going in there killing people. We trying to survive, nigga. We trying to survive."
Thank you. Yes, I fucking love that. Thank you so much. That's right. Oh, it's beautiful. So yeah, the fact that you and I are having a conversation about what does it really mean to participate, to be a conduit of love, to be an expression of love and self-love on the planet, that's huge, man. That's absolutely huge. I mean, you know, in the relationship workshop that I just did, there were 12 people, 6 men, 6 women, and 3 of those men were military.
Amazing. Former
or current active. One of my coaching clients is he's the commander of a drone group.
Wow. Like
here in the US, like he and he's my client, and we, you know, it's talking a lot about kind of intimate relationships, but and this is why I love intimate relationship work, because as we open up to what does it mean to be a loving presence for our intimate partners, which is really again about being self-loving, being self-loving, about loving ourselves, and really, you know, filling ourselves with love and waking up to the love that we are by getting rid of all that fear thinking, which is really a lot of the work that I've been doing with Katharina profoundly in the last year. But as we clear the mud, the haziness of that insanity, and we open up and to the love that we are, we can do, if we start to practice that in intimate relationships, well, now we bring that into our work. We bring that into, it's a natural outflow of our creativity in the world.
Exactly.
I mean, it just, what would it look like? And I think this is what to me is really fascinating about what's happening in the American political story right now. You have kind of the old school paradigm of a mindset of fear, right, of just fear and separation. And it's like a satire, watching mostly the Republicans do what they're doing to each other. It's satirical almost. It's caricature. I mean, Donald Trump is literally a caricature. He's like he's the lizard brain personified.
Yeah, it's a stage.
But then you have kind of this other kind of side over on the Democrats, and I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. I'm just sort of, you know, I'm just offering like what's possible here. You have, you know, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. They're actually having a pretty respectful conversation about as they run, and Bernie's really, you know, offering like the heart of the people. It's like he's speaking the heart of the people. He's speaking a message of inclusivity and of what I'll just say of love, you know, the rising of the heart, the really caring for people.
But is he speaking that from a place of the puppetry in the delusion and mass, you know, drama and lie of government, or you think that he's a consciously awakened man that's managed to worm his way into an unconscious institute and actually has a voice, or are we all just being distracted by the monkey game?
You know what? I don't even want to take that on, to be honest, that question, only because I just don't want to go down that route. All I want to, that's a rabbit hole I just don't want to dive into. But all I want to point out is that it is possible to have a message of inclusivity, of genuine inclusivity, and you know, and honoring of the whole. At every level of humanity, from both our, you know, personal, just, you know, inclusivity for myself means welcoming the anger. You know, I had a moment yesterday, I was fucking furious about something. Right. And actually it happened to do with Katharina, my coach. I've been furious with her a number of times in the last 6 months, especially, you know, because what I feel like, well, it doesn't even matter why. The fact is just anger happens, it arises. And most of what we do, and we certainly do it in intimate relationships, we do it to ourselves, is we rather than just allowing ourselves to express the anger and just have its expression, have its moment of just rah, you know, like someone like practicing yogic anger. You know, I would do it right now, but people might have their speakers.
Do it, man. Do it. I want it.
You know, you might want to mute you might want to bring the volume down a little bit if you're listening out there, because I'm about to practice some yogic anger.
Do it.
But, you know, just having a moment of just, because being a human being on earth is fucking infuriating. There's some crazy shit that happens to all of us.
Yes.
And when we don't offer our anger in response to that, and not to say that, you know, it's like the difference between most of us when we get angry, we're trying to get an outcome. We're trying to tear something down or hurt somebody or get someone back. It's like connected. It's coming from our fear, rather than just, you know, offering our anger, just an acknowledgement that I am in this body and it fucking hurts to be in this body. It fucking hurts. And I can't fucking live up to all of the expectations that I have on myself, that other people have on me. I can't fucking ever get it right. And just, you know, fucking you're roaring that out. Right? Just and it's like, notice what happens. Then we smile. It's like the energy moves, the weather passes. And we're still here in the same place where people still expect things of us that we can't fucking possibly deliver on. Right. And we expect, but you know what? Now there's a freshness. There's like, okay, the storm has passed, and now, oh, that felt really amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know, and now I can be present and feel.
Yeah. And we do anger release and movement and dance in the workshops that we do, and anger release, we do shaking, and you know, we also use a technique from Osho called active meditation, and
dynamic meditation. I love it.
Dynamic meditation, exactly. And basically what you're just saying there is so rich, because I spoke about sexual energy earlier, and then you know, anger again is this like powerful energy. And I know maybe a lot of people watching this call today, and people that are following your work and listening to the things that you share, they might be becoming more aware of this. But imagine how much suppressed, dense, unexpressed anger is out there, that is causing what you spoke about earlier, the walls and the wars and the fear and the fire and the you know, the abuse and the child abuse. And like, ultimately everybody wants to just scream and shout and say, man, I don't know what to do. You know, like even men, it's like, I don't know how to be a conscious man. Okay, great. Let's start there. You know, like let's let that anger out. I don't know how to fucking love a woman. Great. Let's let that out. You know, it's like, boom, you know, it's like, I don't know how to, you know, I don't know how to survive. I can't support my father. My father left me when I was young, whatever. It's like, let's let this out.
That's right. You know, back in I think it was 2004 or 8. I can't, no, it was probably 4. There was in our political election, I'm gonna come back to politics. There was a politician who was doing really well, running for president on the Democrat. I think it was the Democratic side. I don't remember his name, but he was kind of he was the insurgent of the hour. He was doing really well. And then he was on TV. He like won one of the elections, one of the early primaries. And he was like, yeah, he's like, we're going all the way to the White House. Yeah! And he did that. That killed his campaign. Because after that moment, everybody judged him as non-presidential because he expressed raw fucking emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was out of his joy and enthusiasm. He just went, yeah, I remember his name. That killed his fucking campaign. You know what would be the best thing for politics right now is if all 17 Republicans that are running for president, if they just had another debate, but they didn't debate, they just fucking all went on stage and primally screamed out their anger and their rage. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Right now, that's like they're not safe to offer that. They're not safe to. So what it comes out in is just the mind yapping at each other. The insanity of that suppressed fear that they're all, you can practically see them shaking as they're and this is how we show up in our intimate relationships. Then it's like we're shaking. And I had a man at my relationship retreat this past weekend who well, you could tell, and he's Canadian, so he's like really extra polite. I don't know if you know that about Canadians. They're like, it's like they apologize for everything. I love Canadians. They apologize for everything. And this man was huge. And we were doing a practice with him and his wife. His wife is like carrying so much anger and offering it constantly, but she has no safe place. Like it's not welcome. And so she stays angry. And her husband, he's like, he doesn't want to feel his anger. And he was trembling. And he was like, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. And I told him, you're fucking lying to me. Of course you are. What do you mean you're not angry? Everyone in this room can feel the anger seething through you. And he said, no, I'm not angry. And he was trembling. And he acknowledged, he said, many years ago, and he's saying this through trembling words, through trembling breath. He said, I almost killed a man because I was angry. I think he was at a bar or something. I almost killed the man. And so, and all of us men, we know how dangerous. We've seen the only way, and women too, the only way we've ever seen anger expressed is like violently. We've never seen anger expressed from a heart-connected place of just, this is an offering of just what's true for me in this moment, versus I'm angry because you did something. I'm angry because I don't like you. I don't love you. I want you. I'm going to fix you, change you, hurt you, destroy you. Like that's how anger has mostly been offered. Right. And again, and yeah, of course we're going to be horrified because anger has just been a destructive rather than a creative offering, rather than just telling the truth of this moment, not directed at someone to hurt them, but just because, like as I said earlier, like just being in the human body fucking hurts. It's being human on this planet. If you're not angry, you're lying to yourself. Right. There's anger in all of us. And when, like I said, just that would be amazing to see all those Republicans on the stage just do some fucking primal anger and then clear all that out and then see what happens. The conversation would be totally different. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, the conversation will be different. And also, I guess I'm probably a little bit skeptical in terms of, and again, I know you don't want to go down that rabbit hole, and I'm not going to, but I'm happy to honor your decision on that. But I'm definitely skeptical against, like, to be fully embodied, to be fully holistic, if you want, to be what you're talking about, to have gone in, to be willing as a man or a woman to go into your anger, to go into your emotions, to go into what you're really truly feeling and what's really going on for you. That is not present and happening. I mean, you've got, for example, I don't know much about politics. I don't get involved in it at all, but I will say that I do like and have watched some of the Marilyn Williamson stuff when she speaks out, and she's sort of like trying to, I don't know whether she's she's definitely speaking in political circles now, and she's moved herself into that field. And, she's definitely speaking from, you could say a slightly more integrated space, but I don't know her. I've only read a few things around and watched a few videos, so I can't make that full diagnosis or whatever you want to call it, that analyzing, because I don't know her personally. But what I do know is when you meet somebody, you know if they're embodied or not. Like, you know,
Yeah.
politics, you know, there's people out there that are, again, talking, and there's so much that can't be shared on a transparent level. This is another thing about transparency and truth. You know, you just will not get politicians, even let's move out of politics and even just say shop owners and businesses that will just show up transparently, and then take it to the work you do and the field that we're in, relationships. I mean, I'm working with men that will not tell their woman, what they're thinking and feeling, and they definitely won't write down anything because fear that their woman would find it. Right. This is in relationships where people are supposedly talking about having children and getting married. Right.
Yeah.
And then you think that you're going to go into like business and government where people are showing up transparently. There's no money there.
Shit. I lost you.
Sorry, did you hear me?
You were doing great, and then I lost you, but you're back now.
No problem. So yeah, I was just saying, I don't know what you heard, but I was saying there's no money in transparency and anger release.
There's no money in transparency, and there's also, in what most men believe, there's no harmony in it either. There's no peace in it either, right? Again, that whole, that was, like I was saying earlier, that masculine pursuit of freedom. We think that if we tell the truth, we're going to create problems for ourselves. Right? Because again, we're so disconnected from our feelings that we're living up in the headspace. We think that if we tell the truth in a relationship, that all we're going to do is upset somebody, and then that's going to be a burden we have to deal with, and we just rather not deal with it. Because life is burdensome enough already, and why would I create more problems for myself?
So that's beautiful. So from that place, then let us drop in to you and I, because I'm happy. You know, relationship for me is the key place of learning and growing. So right now, and you're out there doing your thing. You've had your own little. You've been working with this woman, Katharina, and you're in a relationship. So you know, if we bring it back to self, round trip to self.
Yeah.
What's even on the layers that you're going through? What's the struggle? What's the challenge in relationship for you? I mean, I know what it is for me at the moment, and I just drop it in there. And I mean, I haven't read The Superior Man, but you know, I've been on this exploration of what it means to be open, and what it means to what it means to not. And this is not about this spiritual, you know, new agey, like man has to be feminine and connect with his feminine side, because again, that can be distorted. And I was listening to some talks recently on what does it mean to be a conscious man, and you know, there's a lot of men, and they were talking, and none of them really had it clear. It's not defined yet. It's like we're exploring it. And yeah, okay, David Data, there's a few other men talking out there, but also a lot of people don't vibe. As always, there's always different opinions, and don't vibe fully with Data's approach and other men's approach. So from your perspective, like right this moment, you know, what's the challenge in your relationship as a man that you're dancing with? Where's your learning and growth coming from?
Yeah, first I just got to wipe my nose with this orange shirt that absorbs nothing, because I don't have a Kleenex nearby. This is a great intro to the answer to that to that question. You know, honestly, man, it's really showing up and being present in my body. It's really just that simple, because you know, I've chosen a very emotional, feminine, I mean, deep woman to be in partnership with now, and I fucking absolutely am crazy about this woman, and it's her emotional depths that really, like, just being in her presence, I just feel like I'm swimming in an ocean. And the thing is, doing relationship with that energy, I've got to be in my body. And when I'm checked out in my head, and she can feel it immediately, because, you know, especially if I'm like, when I'm in work mode, I'm totally in my head.
Right.
And so it's like getting out of my head, not relating to her from just my mind, just my intellect, and really relating from her in an embodied way. That's where breathing really comes in handy. I don't know if that makes any sense to some of the men out there, but that's really fucking hard at times. You know, it's really fucking hard, because it's easy. You know, most men think that, well, as long as I'm just present in the room, we're doing relationship, right? As long I'm here, you know, so what more do you want from me? I'm showing up.
Yeah.
No,
No.
we show up physically, but we don't show up embodied. We show up, checked out in our brains. We're not really present with what's going on. And so, and our women can feel that, and so that the biggest challenge, I remember, one of my good friends told me about, he was having some marriage problems a few years back, and he was having a conversation with his wife in their living room, and she said to him, "I don't feel connected to you." And he looks around and he's like, "Okay, we're in the same room, we're talking, everything's like, what the fuck do you mean you don't feel connected to me? What does that even mean?" Right? What does that mean? Well, what it means is, again, our predominant reliance on information, on the intellect, has us missing from our emotional body. We resist the emotions. We can't be with them. And so we don't, let's say, I'll just use the word again, offer them. And, it's so fascinating this weekend, again, I'll come back to it, at this relationship retreat, I had, in 2 instances, I had men that were just stuck, they were literally trembling with emotion in the body that they are intellectualizing and refuse to express. I had them do like what you say, just kind of, well, I call it yogic anger, and fucking just express it in the room, not directed at anyone, but just offering it. The women were so turned on by that, by just men expressing raw emotion that was so hot to these women, and it was liberating to the men. It's like, it's like, wow. One man literally transformed from a man who's kind of invisible in the room, just kind of meek and timid and very polite and nice guy, but just no presence. When he just went on this fucking, air punching, screaming fit in front of the group, he became a man in that moment. Like, I was like, whoa, who is this guy that just showed up? We called him Sexy Joel from then on out, because all of the women in the room were like really turned on by this. And that's, it's the same thing. Like with my girlfriend, it's amazing. She loves my bad moods because I'm just having a mood. As long as I'm not blaming her for it, and I'm not taking it out on her, or, directing it, hurting her, which I'm pretty good about not doing, I hope. But just having it, she loves that shit. What I think would be bad company, she enjoys, because it's like Bryan's feeling, and this is what it looks like, and she just loves that.
Yeah, but what we're talking about here, which is nice, and just for people listening, but what you're pointing to though, and I want to just jump back tiny just to the conversation of the woman that said, "I'm not feeling connected," because I totally resonate with that, and I've had that experience myself. But ultimately it comes back to self, right? Because when I'm not connected, when I'm not in my body, when I'm not feeling aligned, released, and so on, then I can't connect. I just can't connect. I can't connect to the woman. I can't connect to friends. I can't even connect to the world. I can't connect to the, what's even happening in my life. I can't connect to the, like you said earlier, I'm sure we're similar in terms of, from a masculine perspective, of just getting into projects, getting into work mode, and, just Absolutely. In the head, active, and so on. But then what you're talking about here is you're talking about ownership. One of the concepts we sort of talk about is like owning what you're feeling, and not just puking it and vomiting it onto your partner or your work colleagues, or the postman, etc. Is that what you're sort of pointing to, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just acknowledging, and this is where the work that I've been doing with Katharina has been really valuable, because what I've really been getting clear about. I've known this intellectually for a long time, but being in the practice of it, of realizing, as you've heard that thing, that the whole world is your mirror. I don't know if you've heard that, like the world is your mirror, your partner is your mirror. So what you're rejecting in the world outside of you is what you carry inside, what points to your unhealed stuff. I got that intellectually for a long time, but doing this work with Katharina, she has this program called Quest for Greatness, and doing this work with her, really shifting from a mindset of fear to a mindset of love, has shown me how, in a very embodied way, how my girlfriend is just not responsible for my anger. It's just not her fault ever. I don't care what she does. I don't care what someone says to me, what they do. You know, especially it's like easier to see in relationships, ironically, because what most people are triggered by in relationships has nothing to do with the partner they're with. It's something they're carrying from childhood, some wounds. You know, their parent didn't love them in an unconditional way. Because what parent can? What human being can really love, truly love unconditionally? It's like that, right? So we're all carrying the wound of not getting love in the way that we're wired for it into our adult relationships. And so, yeah, we're carrying a lot of stuff in our body. And so learning how to be with that emotion and not make it our partner's fault is profound, because now we can just be who we are, and and our partners get to be who they are, because we realize, oh, it's not my fault my partner's angry either, or she's sad, or that's one thing. Like men, we always want to fix our partner's emotions because we think it's bad. If you're not feeling good, we need to fix that. And it's it's the distinction here too is we want to fix the emotion and get her back to happiness because we feel like that reflects on us, versus how can we show up and open her up to love, open her, by offering our love and open her to love, which might just mean allowing her to be with her sadness in a loving way, versus, because a lot of women, when they don't feel good, or they flagellate themselves, they hurt themselves because they think they're also supposed to just feel happy all the time. And it's a fucking lie. I mean, the human experience is all of it. It's all of it.
Yeah.
It's all of it.
Yeah. Beautifully expressed. That was a really, really beautiful way of actually, which is one of the hardest things, I've even noticed that in myself many times, is that this need to some, and you fall into it sometimes almost as a response mechanism. It's not even a conscious decision. Sometimes you just think that you got to like fix or change the raw emotion that's there. And I mean, I'm practicing that physically and so on. And as always, just, knowing that the deep rooted conditioning of needing to somehow, even myself, when I'm feeling sad, or I've been like that for the last couple of months, like feeling a whole heap of shadow and anger and frustration and angry with the choices I've made over the last 7 years, and just really just facing them, and not like, buffering them and covering them under the carpet, but just like really facing that shit, man. I acted in some stupid ways. I've procrastinated like hell for the last 7 years. It's not acceptable. And then just like, then going, okay, yeah, I know I'm enough in that. And it's not about beating myself and dwelling there, but I have to own and allow that's how I'm acting. And then in a relationship to go, wow, I'm not showing up as a conscious man when I act like this. It's just not. It's unconscious, blatantly. And I don't care what anybody says. If they saw me and you had a hidden camera on me, you'll be like, how, man? That shit's just old patriarchal dominant man, And you have to face that. And like you say, if you've got a partner that's willing to show you that, when you get triggered, there's an opportunity for you to look at yourself. So that's really beautiful.
Absolutely.
Really beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna suggest something, because I know you do your own meditations and stuff. So I know we're sort of done an hour, so we've flown through that, like, I don't know how.
And I just want to tell you, I have to pee. Like,
yeah, good. So you pee, then I suggest we sit silently for 1 minute.
So I'm gonna go pee right now.
Go.
Yeah, because I'm like literally about to pee all over this lovely couch. But I invite people to start sitting silently. Just take a few minutes to breathe in what we've been saying, and then I'll be right back.
Exactly.
Cool.
Thank you all for joining live. Brian's coming back. Noisy Brian. Noisy Brian with echoey Simon on the sofa. So what I'm going to do now is invite Brian. We're going to sit a little longer in silence and then see if there's anything that arises that needs to be shared in this conversation that we may have. I was going to say may have missed, but you can't really miss anything. Maybe he's having a number two. So I also want to say here as well, as always, just a huge thank you to the patrons, the people that are supporting the sofa. I know I said it at the beginning, but it's, when you're dancing on the edge of creating in this society right now, when so much is crumbling, so many systems, the monetary system, the governmental system, so many systems and institutes, the educational system, it's all crumbling. The way that we support each other is key.
All right, I can uncross my eyes now.
Amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you. So, okay. So what I suggest is we just sat in silence for a little bit. So maybe we just do a couple of seconds with you, close your eyes and just breathe. And then what we'll do, let's just, as a closing, if anything arises that we feel we want to share in closing, then we will. If not, we can just close because that hour has flown by.
Yep. All right. I just want to speak to the men really briefly that are watching, if they've made it this far, that it's time for us to come out of the closet. It's time for us to give ourselves permission to be human, to not know what to do, to not know what the hell is going on here, to not know how to fix it. It's okay for us to be in the unknowing. It's okay. It's essential. It's time for us to surrender to love. Even though none of us know what the hell that means. But it's what an exquisite journey to be in the learning of what that means for. And I'll just make it personal for me, for myself. And I invite men out there, and as a former captain in the US Air Force speaking, I invite you to commit yourself to the journey of surrendering to love. Because love has our back in ways that we can't even possibly imagine. That our ego, our fear just cannot even begin to comprehend. It's a scary surrender to the ego. But it's the path of heart. It's the worthy journey of this lifetime. So I just want to say that directly to the men, and you're not alone. You got me and Simon on the sofa. You can come chill with us on the sofa anytime. We'll drink a beer and talk about what does it mean to surrender to love. Yeah, thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Brian. So yeah, I want to say to the men that I definitely sit on the sofa with you, but I don't drink beer, but I do drink smoothies.
I drink beer and smoothies.
Brian will definitely
Beer
drink a beer.
Yeah.
Brian will drink a beer and a smoothie with you.
Yep.
I'm glad you dropped in there and just spoke to the men as well. And I just want to share that talking with you has been a pleasure, and thank you for showing up. And yeah, from my perspective as a man talking to those listening today, men and women, is there's so many concepts being flown around, and so many information, and so many videos, and so many this, that, and the other. But there is some real magic in this coming back to yourself, coming back to this place of appreciation for the life force, as Bryan called it earlier, flowing through us, the gift of life, the celebration of this unique expression that we are. There's something really profoundly beautiful when you come back to the silence, close your eyes, sit in nature, and listen to your own inner voice, your own intuitive wisdom. And there's something beautiful when you realize, like Bryan said as well, that, he says love's got your back, but then the question is, okay, so what is love? He's just described that there's these women that show up for him, that like everybody that's shown up in your life is love showing up for you. Everyone that's triggering you and asking you to drop deeper is love showing up for you. When you jump into the unknown, so many things unfold and so much mysterious wonder, shows up, support, help, guidance, whatever, the list is endless. So there's something from this conversation about just, we're all walking into the unknown. I know I am. And that's the unknown in relationship and the unknown in where life's leading us, what the potential outcome might be of all the actions of so many humans now on the planet. And that is damn scary at times. But like Bryan said, when we sit on the sofa, I'm in the closet. I don't know about Bryan. He's the sofa man. He's the sofa man. I'm the closet man. When I come out of this closet, this echoey closet, in this moment, we're privileged. You listening to this today, you're privileged. So just to what is the inspired action that we can take to create a more beautiful world? And that might be going to talk to the military, Bryan's working with the military. It might be going to help out your community. It might be speaking out. It might be putting something together like a sofa talk. It might be going down and helping whoever you think. And it might just be you taking yourself out of your conditioning and going to sit in silence for 20 days. Whatever the choice is, it's something that you can do today, an inspired action that will help you live a more beautiful world, live in a more beautiful world. So there you go. That's what I have.
Beautiful.
And I think that, I think we've skirted around everything. And just, thank you for showing up. Thank you for swearing. Thank you for getting your anger out. Thank you for being you, Mr. Bryan Reeves. And
thank you, brother. It's been an honor to do this with you, Simon. And
I wish you well in your further endeavors, and I hope that we can drop in. One of the things that Katharina said was that maybe, if you'll be up for this, because you are all about relationships, that maybe you and your partner might be interested, maybe in 6 months' time or so, when I'm back, maybe mid-year, you might drop in as a couple.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, and we could record a conversation around just relationship and intimacy and so on.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would love that.
Okay, super. Let's pen. We'll schedule some dates because I know you've got a lot of things going on, and I'll send you an email. Okay.
All right, brother. Beautiful.
Well, you're welcome to say goodbye to the beautiful viewers that we had with us, and those that come back on the replay, and then you can just hang up, and I'll say goodbye to the people.
All right, cool. Well, goodbye, beautiful viewers. Thanks for hanging out with Simon and I. And I guess I'll just, I write a lot of blogs and articles. You can find them on my website, Bryan Reeves, BryanReeves.com. And Yeah, that's it. It's been a pleasure being in this conversation with you all, and just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Share this with a man, especially, or share this with a woman that needs to hear men get fucking real with each other. But just this is great, Simon. I'm so honored, man. Thank you for asking me to do this with you. And I look forward to next time and meeting you in person sometime.
They're amazing. Take care. All the best. Let's stay in touch. Lots of love.
Bye.
All right, here we go. There you go, beautiful people. I'm going to wrap up here and just leave you with the Patreon page. There it is, patreon.com, Simon on the Sofa. Like I say, $1, $2, $3, $4, whatever you want to contribute, just continues to support me to get the equipment I need, and also to continue doing what needs to be done to pull, just even the communication to get Bryan and get whoever else, and all the magnificent people on the sofa. This all requires energy and time, even if it's just buying me some brown rice and some smoothies. Let's support each other. If this has supported you, drop a comment, head over to the links below. Bryan's website will be below the video in the description, and of course, where you can catch more conversations with myself. So if you're very new to these conversations, then please check out. There's over 100 conversations with magnificent people just like yourself, and they're all there as a free resource so that we can evolve, inform, play, and learn about what it means to be human. Take care. I love you all. Have an amazing day, morning, night, wherever you are. All the best. Bye-bye.